Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play. This actual play uses the Hunter the Reckoning system by Whitewood Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am normally your keeper, handler, storyteller, game master writ large, although tonight we are back playing Hunter with our friend Skip. And so I'm going to turn the shotgun shells and various sundry weapons over to him, and we'll see how we do. So Skip, take it away.
Thank you again. My name is Skip. My pronouns are he, him. Glad to be your storyteller tonight. And we are about ready to get to the climax of what's been going on in the Star City of Roanoke, Virginia. But I can't do it without some good hunters. And we've got 4 of them tonight. And I will begin my introductions to my left.
I'm Morgan and I play Fiona Hensley. Our pronouns are she, her. And Fiona's creed is visionary. And Fiona's a journalist, and she is hot on the trail to the old St. Mary's Hospital to hopefully save somebody's life.
She did get a vision, and she is on her way. And to Fiona's left.
Yeah, hi, this is Mike, and I am back playing James Buchanan, our Avenger. And I poked around a railroad museum. I talked to a member of the, we'll say, housing dispossessed. And then I'm going to go check out a spooky old graveyard, I think.
And to my right.
Hi, I'm Heather, pronoun she, her. I am playing Joe McKay. And Joe just had a very interesting conversation with let's just call him a local called Phil, who is provided some information regarding a couple of parts that she is going to be following up on.
Excellent. We'll see where those parts take her. And last but not least.
Hi, this is Allie. I play Riley Mendez, and I am concerned.
Well, let's see if her concerns are valid as we will begin back at the hospital, where Riley has just had a nice conversation with a very pleasant doctor in the morgue who has touched a body that felt really, really weird at the foot area, and was just getting back to work, talking with one of her coworkers about why the doctor had suddenly decided to become a medical examiner and sign off on the medical paperwork when she definitely should have not. Riley, as you're beginning to get back to your normal day-to-day happenings there at the hospital, going through, making your rounds, you open the door to one of the rooms that are now empty, and we're getting ready to close it. And you just get this sudden feeling in your head. And it's almost like when the messengers first spoke with you. It's very loud. It's very plain. And where the bed is, you now see it just kind of morph into something different. You still see a bed. The bed is kind of collapsed in. You see walls that have kind of started to get overgrown with ivy. And you see, as you look around to where the bathroom would be in this room, you see an open door where the hallway is just strewn with bricks, and there are shadows moving about here and there. As you try to get a better feel of this, the vision kind of changes a little bit, and you see one of those rooms where people are kind of gathered around where they're watching a surgery. It's like an observation room where they're like some of the young doctors who are still in residency are learning or watching a surgery. You're starting to see that now, and you see this big hulking figure standing over where would be the operating table and just kind of pointing at this man that's stretched out on the table. Well, it's not really a man. It's kind of pieces of a man, an arm, a leg, a torso. You don't see a head, maybe because it's not there, maybe because a large man is blocking it. And you see, coming from the side, you see the doctor that you just met. She's got this look of terror on her face, and she's holding a head, and she's just looking up at the big, large man, and she just kind of holds the head up. You can't recognize the face, but she's looking like she's asking for permission to do something. And then the vision just kind of fades back out. You see the word St. Mary's on the back wall as the vision just clears away. And you just feel like this is something you have to see. You have to be there. It's like your destiny is meant for you to stop this.
Yeah, I will collapse. I am panting and shaking and sweating, and I have to find St. Mary's. Whether that's a church or a hospital or whatever, that's where I need to go.
You do know that the memorial used to be St. Mary's before they rebuilt it and renamed it. That was a few years ago that this happened. So you know exactly where it is, and you know how to get there.
Okay. Then that is where I'm going first thing after shift instead of going home. Well, no, that's a lie. I'm going home to get weaponry, and then I'm going to go find this place.
Okay. All right. We will now shift back to Joe. Joe, you are following the trail that your site has given you. You continue to walk down the path. As the path opens up, it gets more back into the city streets. It is very, very empty now, as the time has gotten pretty late for most people to be out. The fog is beginning to get steadily worse, but for your site, it's not really mattering. You continue to follow these footsteps. They are starting to fade a little bit, but you're still able to kind of keep up with them. And you begin to pass another graveyard. Again, you kind of look over. You don't really see anything moving or anything like that. But then your eyes turn to a dilapidated building. And you're seeing like a caved in fence. And you can kind of make out the words S and then Mary on some of the wall work behind that. But you can definitely tell that there's where the footprints are starting to lead to.
Joe is going to head in the direction that Phil indicated, but if that goes kind of in the direction of the police officers and the rest, she's going to circumvent their basically she is trying to avoid detection from them. But she's going to head back in the direction that he indicated and see where that takes her.
That will eventually head you down towards the river area where that that second graveyard was. This more of a modern graveyard, not as old. It looks like it's been here maybe 30, 35 years. It's still in use. There's still plenty of space left. But the ones that is closer to the road are the graves that are in use right now. And again, you're kind of seeing like the shelter right there on 14th Street. You know about it. You've maybe been in there a time or two just to talk, but you've been in this area before. And you see the abandoned hospital there. Seems to be in worse shape than what you remember. But it looks like that's where Phil was kind of pointing in this direction, and that's where the trail seems to be leading you.
Probably pulls out a little pocket flashlight, kind of one of those fun little, $2 keychain deals that you can probably find at the local gas station. Wraps the little chain around her middle finger on her offhand, so it's basically in her palm when she's ready to use it, and then can flip it out of the way when she needs to use her hands for other devices. The Glock is still firmly in her hands, and she almost instinctively and almost without really considering it, just kind of rubs her thumb against it just a little bit, just to kind of feel its weight and the solid nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she deep breath, squares her shoulders, and well, here we go. And walks with purpose through into the graveyard and towards the building beyond.
Okay. As you enter the graveyard, James, you're following the trail as well. You definitely have come across the graveyard that you thought that you were going to find. Again, it looks like a newer graveyard, not that old, not as old as some of the others here in town. But as you're coming up, you do see another figure starting to make their way into the graveyard itself. Looks like they're heading towards the abandoned building behind it.
Okay. How long do you figure it's been?
Maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. So discern is still up, which is good for me.
Yep.
If I don't get any immediate sense from the messengers that this person is wrong inherently, then maybe they're out for a pleasure walk through a graveyard.
As you get closer, your senses are not triggering anything supernatural or anything like that. But the figure does seem to have something shiny other than a flashlight in her hand. And with your background, you instantly recognize it as a firearm of some sort.
Oh, okay. Rock and roll. Well, I mean, if one was going to go into a graveyard, probably would be smart to be armed.
Exactly.
Okay. You don't really want to spook somebody who's armed. That's not ideal. I wouldn't want to spook me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll head into the graveyard, but at this point, I'll sort of shed the mental idea of trying to be expressly quiet.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to make noise for no reason, but I'm also going to not slow myself by being stealthy.
Okay. Joe, give me a perception and awareness, if you don't mind.
Okay, perception, awareness. And she would definitely be mentally on alert for almost anything at this point, knowing that she's walking into a potential situation. That is 3 successes.
Okay. You can, as you're kind of moving forward, you kind of get a feeling of somebody behind you. It's not throwing off any supernatural senses or anything, but you can definitely feel that you're not alone.
She'll keep walking, but with very much her focus is almost purely on behind her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the hairs on the back of her neck, and she's going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Focus her listening on any kind of footsteps, movement behind her, crunching of leaves or, anything along those lines that would indicate distance.
You're not hearing any gun being drawn or any clicks or anything like that. You just hear a normal gait. Somebody walking. Again, not throwing off any supernatural feelings or anything. Your spider senses aren't really tingling on it.
Yeah, for the moment, she'll just keep walking with purpose. But I am going to keep an eye out for, as I'm walking through the graveyard, are there any mausoleums or taller statuary or gravestone, grave indicators, anything that is at least, I'd say at least shoulder height for her or taller?
Yeah, there's a mausoleum or two.
Anywhere near where she's walking?
Sure. Yeah, there's one right before it kind of dips down and starts heading towards the abandoned building.
So as she walks along, she'll go, as long as there's no change to what she's hearing and kind of sensing behind her. She is going to, once she kind of gets to that point, she will slip it, once she passes it, she'll kind of just quick, take a couple of quick side steps out of sight behind it.
Okay. As you're doing that, Fiona, you kind of arrive on the scene. You're not overtly hiding or anything like that. So you can kind of see two figures kind of walking up from the street level into the old graveyard. Looks like that they're trying to get to the hospital that way. And one just kind of darts into the darkness as you're arriving. But another one's just kind of walking, not necessarily with purpose, but, not trying to be hidden at all.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's a road through the graveyard to the hospital.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to drive that because I don't want the whole entire world to be aware of my arrival. So I will cut the engine on my vehicle, and I will stealth through the graveyard.
Okay. Give me a stealth and dexterity roll.
It is 3 successes.
Awesome. You two, if you would like to make a perception and awareness, real fast.
Certainly.
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3 as well.
Okay. Fiona, as sneaky as you're trying to be, you see the one figure you can now see pause a little bit and maybe turn a little bit in your direction. And you don't know about the person who's already dipped into the darkness.
Yeah, so does the person that I see, how well can I see them?
The graveyard is kind of lit. So you can tell it's a man. Again, doesn't look like he's shambling like a zombie or, anything like that, walking with the normal gait.
Yeah, and does he look anything like the man from my vision that had his arm ripped off?
No, he does not.
Okay. That's good.
At least not yet.
Not yet. All right, so I will gotta get the story one way or another. Hello over there. Yeah, fine night to go walking through the graveyard, isn't it?
She's being nice and loud then, huh?
Yeah, you hear a voice. Very peppy voice, actually, from behind you.
Who doesn't like pep? Yeah, I'll turn and sort of crack a smile and give them a look. Are they coming towards me or this way, or what's the just hollering from the street?
No, I'm coming towards you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll walk over in that direction and say, yeah, I just had this feeling like maybe the graveyard was the place to be.
Oh, I stick my hand out. Fiona Hensley, reporter.
You see me get a little pale. Oh, you're a reporter. James.
And if y'all want to take a moment to describe yourselves, I'm sorry.
So James is probably about 6 foot, dark hair, probably lightly tanned skin. He wears a leather jacket. He has a bag sort of slung over his shoulder. It looks like it might be a Green Army bag. He wears blue jeans, well-fitted boots. It looks like he probably hasn't shaved in a couple of days. And his hands are empty of basically anything.
Fiona's probably about 5'5", so she's not super tall. She's got like the shoulder length, dirty blonde hair that has like a slight wave to it. Like, back in the day where the girls used to like do the, I think they might still do like the perms, or even like the crimping, like back in the late 80s. So her hair is kind of like that. Looks a little, she looks like she's been rushing around. She looks a little disheveled. It's November. She's got a winter coat on, with some gloves because it's probably a little chilly out here in the middle of the night. And and some shoes. maybe some Doc Martens because, on her reporter salary, she could totally afford it.
Totally.
Just totally. And some blue jeans. And, she's not carrying anything that makes her look like she's a reporter. Everything she knows, she remembers in her head.
Joe, you hear this conversation going on as well from where you are?
Oh, she is currently staying quite still and just listening for the moment.
Okay. Riley, you are the last to arrive, having to go back home and grab some stuff. So when you come upon the scene, you see two people standing in the graveyard, apparently having some sort of conversation in the middle of the night. That's not odd.
No.
But you're definitely getting the feeling that you are where you need to be. You see the scene, as I described, the fence is kind of broken down. You do see the remnants of the St. Mary's sign on the ground. And you kind of hear this conversation from where you are walking up.
Okay, well, I'm going to have my handgun ready.
Okay.
Just in case. These are not voices I'm familiar to, and I'm in a place where I was literally shown by the messengers that I need to be at, and there was something gruesome happening, so anything right now is a danger.
Are you making any overt ways of being stealthy, or are you just...
It's a slow, cautious approach.
Okay, slow, cautious.
I'm not sneaking, but I'm not, making a ton of noise. I'm just casually walking.
Okay. About a minute or two into your conversation, Fiona and James, you kind of catch out of the corner of your eye another person starting to walk towards the graveyard as well. Looks intent on coming to where you are. And again, James, with your background, she's carrying some sort of firearm. Doesn't seem to be threatening with it, but...
Okay, that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I look over at Fiona and say, hey, we're going to have company here.
Yeah, I whirl around because I apparently was too busy focusing on James and how handsome he is.
He is handsome, actually.
Yeah, Fiona's no slouch, but she's not like James Buchanan, good looking. Whirls around and who goes there?
You hear it. Who goes there?
Well, you're not a cop, so my name's Riley.
I'm Fiona. Fiona Hensley with the Roanoke Tribune. And you're Riley.
I'm Riley. I was guided here. That's about all I can readily say that doesn't sound completely mental.
Oh, it's okay. We've all been there.
Yeah. You should see the things I've seen.
As Joe from the shadows lights up a cigarette as everyone hears the Zippo open, and God, you'd think it was a fucking party out here. Shit. If I'd known that, I would have brought balloons and a cake.
Shit, I love cake.
Let's just announce ourselves to the entire whatever is in there. I'm guessing the rest of you are here for the same reason. And she just stands there and looks at everybody one at a time. Well, are we doing this?
Doing what?
Oh, please. With whatever that is that you're packing, I could hear you halfway across the graveyard. See you guys in there. And puts her kind of gun up on her shoulder and kind of cocks a half smile and walks off towards the front into the building.
Do you know her?
No.
I didn't bring any weapons. I'm just my bright smile and my gung-ho attitude.
It's always nice to have an attitude. A positive attitude. That's good.
Joe, as you begin to head into the old hospital, your senses are still up, I believe, because you rolled pretty well. You are definitely getting, your spider senses are definitely tingling in this area.
Okay.
Nothing directly around you at the moment, but there has been a presence of some sort in this area quite some time. And it's definitely making you feel a little bit uneasy. As you go through the broken fence, just to kind of look around to get a good feel of where you are going, you are seeing now actual footprints. Well, sort of footprints. They're kind of sliding and then stepping. Another one slides here and steps there. All through the dirt and the dust from this place. They all seem to be heading into the main entrance of the hospital, or what's left of it. You're not seeing anything around now, but again, you are getting that residual. There's been a lot of stuff here as you get closer.
Am I picking up on any kind of tracks or anything that would indicate maybe where in the building to start?
Yeah, as you zone in on what the footprints are leading you to, if you're going into the main entrance, you're not having any problem seeing with your sight still up because there's absolutely no light once you get inside. You are seeing footprints kind of head down towards what was the main lobby area. This is not a big hospital. It was only like two floors. It was one of the older hospitals of the city, so it wasn't built up. It was kind of built out. So where the footprints are leading are like through the main doors, like going down towards some of maybe the ER area that was set up at one time. It's heading down in that general direction.
Okay, so that's the direction she's just going to head.
You see the cigarette lady just kind of look at you and just kind of scoot on in by the fence. She stops for a moment, looks at a couple of things, and then heads into the main entrance. What would the rest of y'all like to do?
I'm going to turn to Fiona and say, why are you here?
Well, it's a personal question.
Yeah, it is. You're in the middle of a graveyard at night. Why are you here?
Well, I had a vision. I investigate things. I'm a journalist.
James just starts nodding.
I really focus on the occult. I see things. Have you heard of HunterNet?
I take the bag off my shoulder and I pull out a shotgun. Yes. It's what I do.
Well, it's what I do too, but I don't have a shotgun.
You're missing out. I cock the shotgun.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can teach me how to shoot after we're done here.
Something's been taking body parts from people.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what it is, but it can't hang around.
Nope, and there's a doctor involved.
Oh.
Doctor, huh?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
All right, well,
I saw her holding a head, so.
let's go make a house call.
All right, the three of you kind of follow the same path as Joe, I'm assuming. So you head back down into the broken area of the front entrance, like I described to her. You do see the footprints there heading in that general direction. Up ahead, you can see Joe. She is not really stopping. She's just kind of looking, walking, continuing making a beeline towards the back of the lobby area. Joe, anything in particular that you're doing as you're making your way through?
As she's walking through, guessing probably passing various rooms and whatnot, she's taking this fairly methodically. So as she's kind of passing each room, she's kind of doing a quick scan, trying to, in her mind, mentally, clear the room. Mm-hmm. Make sure she's not going to go in to any of them unless that's where the tracks go. Otherwise, she's just gonna kind of poke her head in, maybe do a quick, gun first, do a quick sweep, and then move on to the next one.
Okay. You stop at a couple of open rooms. It's pretty much been cleaned out. There are still some beds here and there in very states of disrepair that they just didn't take. But no body parts, no bodies, anything like that. You don't even see where the footprints go into from where the dust is. They just continue to make their way down the main hall, going past the ER, going towards another part of the hospital itself.
Okay, so I am going to continue. I'm going to continue following on a not really slow, but a steady pace. Really trying to keep alert for anything that I'm assuming probably at some point I'm going to hear, footsteps or motion or something behind me where she'll actually pause and make sure that just kind of confirm in her head that that's probably those who are outside following, and then she'll just continue.
They're not making any stealth or anything like that. You can definitely hear a little bit of a conversation behind you, so they are following you. Whether you let them catch up with you or not is your choice, but they are definitely following you.
Yeah, so I guess like when we get into the building, I want to let discern sort of guide me, and I want to see if I can pick up that trail here.
Okay. Yeah, you can. With some of the footprints that you're looking at, they do have some of that residual effect to them, and they do seem to be heading in the way that Joe is heading. And they don't seem to stop. They just, if you look at the other footprints, they'll stop every now and then. This one just seems it doesn't have any place where you can tell it has stood for a long period of time. It just, like it was on a bull in a china shop direction straight into the hospital itself. Okay.
Yeah, that seems fair. So I guess if the smoking lady was going in before us, I'm going to assume that she's going to deal and see. She's going to get first contact, so enjoy that, and then we'll go from there. So I'll try to set like a fairly even pace, and follow the footprints.
Okay. Joe, you continue hearing the people behind you following the same trail. The footprints the resonance of the footprints, I should say, gets stronger as you get closer towards the end of this hallway. Looking around, again, you see like rooms, may have been offices at one time. The doors are completely open. Nobody seems to have gone in there in quite some time. None of the footprints go there. It's just either shambling, moving, or sliding their way towards this main door at the very end. As you get closer, I need you to give me a perception and awareness, please.
Okay. That is 3 successes.
3 successes, okay. The closer you get to the door, you are actually starting to hear voices. 2 distinct voices. One very loud, a male voice. The second is a smaller, weaker voice that seems to be trembling when she's talking. You're not really making out what they're saying as of yet, but you're definitely hearing a conversation of some sort in the doors ahead of you.
Okay. The doors are shut, or is it just an open doorway?
It's one of those where you just push it and they both kind of, or you could have hit one of the little buttons and the door swings open.
Right.
But there's no electricity here, so you would have to actually physically push them.
So, but for right now, they're closed.
Right now, they are closed. Yes.
Okay. Are they like the complete like plexiglass, so they're completely see-through, or is it just I'm seeing them through the windows?
Yeah, it's got one of the double doors have the little square windows that are kind of glassied out or kind of fogged out. They have like the little metal hexagons in them, and you just kind of push them aside to go in.
Okay. Since I'll actually have some cover, I lower my body down a bit so I'm not like right at eye level, and slow my pace to be as quiet as possible.
Okay. And the rest of y'all see her stop and kind of hunch down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I probably raised like my fist. Like a closed fist, which might look a little strange to the people behind me. And at that point, I'm going to re-engage stealthy practices.
Okay.
So.
A roll, please, to see how stealthy.
Yeah. For sure. So I have 6 successes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're a ninja. So you go totally quiet. What are the other two doing? You two doing when you see James stop, hold up his fist, and do what he's doing?
I mean, I'm going to be confused looking at him stop and hold up his fist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have my gun more at the ready.
Okay.
And I'm going to hope that whatever he's doing, he's got that side covered. Are we in just a single way corridor, or are we at like a cross section?
No, you're in a single way corridor. It's looking like it's a straight line down to this double door. There are, like I said, doors open on the left and right, like former offices. But again, there's nobody in them as you kind of walk through. It doesn't look like anybody's been in them in quite some time.
Okay. So then, since Fiona mentioned that she didn't have a gun, I'm going to motion her to like get essentially in front of me, and I'm going to turn around so that way I can watch from the other side to make sure that we're not being followed in.
Gotcha. Okay. Joe, what would you like to do at this point?
I am going to try to get close to the door, looking at the hinges and which direction do these doors open? Do they open back towards these people or towards us?
Actually, they could go either way. It's one of those little doors that kind of go back and forth.
Gotcha. Okay. So I am going to get as close as I can to the left door towards the hinge, so away from where it actually opens.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to listen in to see if I can overhear what is being said.
Okay. You are now close enough when you're leaning in and using like the cracks in between the door. You can actually hear the conversation. You can definitely tell that the male is pissed off about something. And he is yelling,
I told you this one would not work, but you would not listen to me. Here, use this one. This one will work for me. I've told you that.
And you hear the other voice go, we tried that one before and it did not work. There's the same body.
No, this one will work.
What would you like to do?
I look back at the other three. Do I see them? Are they close enough for me to see?
You see two of them.
Not the ninja.
Not the ninja.
Okay.
No.
Not the one with the ninja skills. Okay. Oh, Joe's going to think about this for just a few seconds and basically kind of look back at the other two and pulling out her second Glock after flipping back, putting away her little flashlight, kind of turns just a little bit towards so the two of them can see her. Maybe even just kind of leaning in if a little bit of the moonlight kind of is coming through so they can definitely get a clear look of her. And she's going to put her guns up kind of on either side of her. And I'm going to go kind of her on either side of her. And she's going to go. And then she's going to take the one and she's going to basically knock on the door 3 times and then crouch and prep, get her guns. So when that door swings open, she'll be ready to follow whatever comes out.
Okay. You knock 3 times. You hear a loud thud, like something hitting the floor. And heavy footsteps begin to head over towards the door. You hear the rough voice said,
Is she here? Did you bring her?
And the footsteps are getting very close to the door. What would you like to do at this point? It's definitely heading towards you.
Joe remains in basically a combat crouch on the ground, one leg cocked up, one kind of behind her, ready to push up off. So
Mhm.
she is down and crouched with both of her guns out, waiting to see when that door opens. She's going to have at least that much cover. So whatever comes out, and if they come out and they move forward down that hallway, she'll be able to basically be able to target them from behind.
Okay. So the way things work in Hunter is you make a dexterity roll on this.
1d10 plus dex plus wits.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got a 6.
Okay.
All right. I have 12.
Okay.
Dex plus wits, that would be a 6.
6. Okay.
I have a 15.
Okay. All right. At this point, the door bursts open. You see standing in front of you a very large, gruff man. Those of you with senses, I'm not even going to make you roll. You are definitely getting a form of supernatural to this particular individual. He has hair, very unkept beard, kind of stringly hair. His hands are very calloused. It looks like his has been in use for quite some time. His clothes are ragged. Looks like there are blood stains on the clothes. How long they've been there, you can't tell. You don't know how long he's been wearing these things. But he has a very wild look in his eye. And the only people he could see right now are Fiona and Riley. And he just kind of bellows,
No!
and starts making his way down the hallway. So we will go in initiative order. Riley, you're up first.
I'm going to shoot dead mass.
Okay. By all means, make your roll.
All right. So I got 0 successes and I have 2 1s. Does Hunter have the 1s penalty? Terrible things happen.
Yeah. For time brevity, we're going to say that you go to pull the trigger on the gun. It clicks, but gets locked up in this particular case. You try your best to shake it to try to undo it, and it just does not work. It is definitely jammed at this point.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna run if I have time.
Okay. Let's see. James, you are next in initiative order.
Okay.
You see Riley going to have him dead to rights. Nothing comes out.
Yeah. I mean, it happens to a lot of us, right? 1 in 5, that's what they say.
Yeah.
So I'll, from my position where I'm at, I guess, let me know how far this creature is from me.
From where you are, I would say it's about 15 yards.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a long hallway, but y'all had gotten pretty close.
Does it appear to be armed?
Only with its big old meat hooks.
Meat hooks. Right. Meat hooks.
Mm-hmm. Fisticuffs.
It is definitely 100% wrong in my vision then.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I can't really abide that because it's just not okay. So what I'd like to do is close the distance, and I would like to utilize my baton.
Okay.
And the reason why I'd like to do that is because I would like to activate the cleave power.
Absolutely. By all means, activate.
So I will make a dex melee roll,
Yes. You read my mind.
which I will go ahead and spend a willpower for an automatic success. That way I don't have to worry necessarily about botching.
Right.
I am going to invest 2 points of conviction into this attack. I will pick up 2 more dice.
Okay.
And since it is, we'll be able to use these exploded 10s.
Yes, you will.
Okay. So I have 6 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's dex dodge for it if it gets a dodge.
It does. And let me roll here. And I get no successes.
Okay, so I'm going to roll strength plus 2 lethal plus 2 extra dice because of the conviction, which in cleave carries over to the damage as well. So I have 5 hits here, so that is 5 boxes of lethal damage.
Okay. Ouch. He roars when you hit him with this baton. It kind of caves in the left side as you were coming from it. Normally, that would put any man down. He is still standing, but he's not very happy.
Okay.
You do hear bones break when you hit. You do, feel like this should have taken the best of him down, and he is still standing.
Okay. Well, that's my action for this round. Hopefully, I got backup.
Joe or Morgan, which one of you has the more points in dex?
I have 2.
What about you, Joe?
I have a 4 index.
Okay, so you will go next.
Because as I see the larger gentleman that I passed who decided to follow me in, cleave into this beast of a creature. Joe, who has been kind of hiding, semi-hiding in the shadows from behind, is going to stand up and take her shots with her Glocks.
Okay. Dex and firearms is what we're looking at.
Perfect. That is 8 dice altogether. That is 5 successes on that.
Okay. And you're using, you said like a Glock?
9 millimeters.
9 millimeter. Okay. So that is going to be, it looks like 5 damage. So I believe you can add 2 more dice to that pool.
Because that is 6 successes on those dice. So,
all right.
6 out of 7 are correct.
Your guns go in, the bullets go into this creature. As they impact, he kind of turns to you, tries to say something, but the amount of damage that the body has taken causes him to basically collapse onto one knee, kind of reach out towards you, and just fall on the ground. Before he could even react, you guys have been able to take him down pretty easily. Those of you with the sight up, at that point, you see the body begin to glow, and this entity, this kind of a ghostly figure, rises up out of the body itself, just stares at you for a moment, and then begins to float quickly down the hall.
Back the direction it came?
No, back the way that you guys have had come in. And that just leaves the hulking figure now without any supernatural part to him. It's just bleeding out. He is not moving at all. From inside, you hear sobbing, like intense sobbing from inside the room.
As this thing floats back, Joe will take a couple of steps back to kind of allow it to kind of float past her back into the direction which as she watches it, will turn her attention that direction back towards where these two were talking, including the small voice, the woman's voice, that is probably now where the crying is coming from.
So I actually wanted, my my nature is as an addict, and I'm addicted to my work. So while all this other stuff is going on and these guys are getting into it, I want to sneak into the other room, past the big hulking object, wherever that the smoking lady was hiding behind the door. So that's where I want to go.
Okay. During all this chaos, you'll be able to. I'm not even going to make you roll for that. There's a lot of distraction. what would you like to do once you're in there? Once you get in, let me describe the scene. You are seeing definitely an operating room. There are cast off body parts laying across both of the far walls. Looks like they've been discarded. In the middle of the room is the operating table. On it is a mostly constructed body. The feet are there, the arms, the legs, and the torso. The head is not there. You see standing next to it is a young lady dressed in a white cloak, robe, doctor's cloak, and is standing there holding the head. And she's just sitting there trembling, just kind of looking at what just happened out there, or what was still happening out there when you snuck by. And she's just sobbing.
Yeah, I don't have any points in empathy, so I mean, I don't care that she's crying. I'm looking like, what are you doing?
You just saying that, not showing any form of empathy whatsoever, it kind of snaps her out of it a little bit. She just kind of shakes her head and she looks out and she says, I was trying to build him again.
Build.
Him.
Who are you trying to build? Who's him?
My husband. Ex-husband.
Oh, well. It's a little awkward. We've come to stop you from doing that.
Oh, thank God. She immediately drops the head and just begins to bawl in front of you.
I just kind of pat her on the shoulder. There, it'll be fine. You know, stealing body parts and killing people is bad.
He made me. She kind of pulls herself together a little bit. We were married for 15 years. And it was great at first. And Eric started drinking. And, well, you kind of know how that goes when the guy drinks and gets mad and has nowhere to take it out on. You know. So I put up this for so long. And then we were here cleaning out my office because they were closing the building down. And he got mad again because I wasn't being fast enough for him. So we got into a fight, and one thing led to another, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I pushed him, and I didn't realize I pushed him so hard, and he tripped and fell and hit his head, and I couldn't wake him up. Maybe part of me didn't want to. Maybe that's why I took my time in getting to him, but yeah, he was gone. So I did my best to make it look like an accident, and police came, they bought it. Didn't take much. So I just, try to put it behind me as best I could. I took some time off. And then about a year later, I was asleep and I felt this presence around me, and I woke up and he was sitting on my bed. And thought it was just a dream. But it just became a nightmare. He kept coming back every night, threatening me, saying he would make sure that they knew that I did it. To the point where he said, if I could bring him back, he'd leave me alone. And that's where I started this. He wanted the perfect body. He always did. Now, he would go out and find the bodies. Some people that he didn't know, some of my friends. Now, my fiance is the last one. So, yeah. He brought him to me, or brought me to him, and then I removed the bodies. He told me of a way to make the bodies appear like they would heal. I didn't really understand it at first, and it just became natural to me after he kind of explained it. And anyway, I'd almost gotten it perfect for him, and there you go. At this point, I don't care anymore. You can put it in the paper, do whatever you want to do. It's just over.
I mean, I'm already taking in all these details, and I'm going to be like, the story is getting typed up, front page. But, okay, so your husband was abusive. He died by accident.
Yeah.
And then you listened to a ghost?
I didn't believe it at first. Like I said, I thought it was a dream, but...
I don't know, but he can do anything to... It'll be okay. It'll be okay. I do have one question, though. Who's Stacy?
She kind of looks at you and like, Stacy's my assistant.
Like, did she know your husband?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Stacy. What was your husband's name? I mean,
Eric.
Who cares?
Yeah.
He's dead. You know, Eric can just go away. But you are going to go to prison for all of this, just so you know, probably.
How do I explain this to the police?
I mean, you could just start with, the ghost of my dead husband threatened and made me. I mean, just tell them the truth.
I'm sure that'll go over well.
Well, it's either you do that or you throw yourself off the top of this building and hope that you go somewhere he doesn't. I mean, you don't really have too many options. Or you could just run and hope for the best.
It worked for me.
Now, admittedly, we saw your husband float away. Doesn't mean he wouldn't come back and have you do this again. So the question is, do you turn yourself in and hope for the best? Do you take yourself out and hope you don't have to spend an eternity with that asshole? Or you could potentially have one of us take you out, or you can run, and if you start this shit up again, one of us might not be so nice. Or whoever you might run into, of course.
At that point, that is where we're going to stop. We're going to leave that hanging. See what decisions she will make in the future. That's been Hunter the Reckoning. My name is Skip. I've been your storyteller. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, hunters. And y'all have a good night.